Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm so glad to have you join us today. This is Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television from the economic hub of Nigeria, Lagos. I am Henry Igwebike. In a bit, we'll be kicking off today, interestingly, starting from our newspapers and possibly crisscrossing down to our main conversation also for today. Please do well to be part of what we do have a say. In what we say, you can always find and reach us when you visit us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. We're very so honored this morning to have with us, joining us via Zoom, Adiola Shoyinton, a journalist and public affairs analyst, to see through all that we have from our newspapers and possibly our main conversation for today. Good morning, Mr. Shoyinton, and welcome to Enterprise Morning today.
Yeah. Good morning, viewers.
Thank you so very much, sir. So let's kick start today with the first daily on our desk, coming from the Punch newspaper. We have the big story: panic in ADC as EFCC goes after key members. We have two interesting riders to that particular story. EFCC grills the coalition members. Tambuwa over 189 billion naira fraud, insist on probe, and key coalition members push back as anti-graft body summons three other governors. Mr. Shoyinton, what's your take on this particular matter? Unfortunately, the EFCC we have today is an EFCC that is standing on the mandate and doing the biddings of the APC. But how despicable is this situation?
Well, the reality is that EFCC, when you look back at previous governments, EFCC has always been a creation of a sitting government. So forget about being objective or being neutral. But however, as an anti-corruption activist, I will want all corrupt or allegedly corrupt politicians, public office holders, including Mr. President, governors, senators, what have you, to be probed, to be effectively probed. Because everybody knows today, politics is the fastest growing industry for where people invest more and get the highest profit. So we know, an average Nigerian will tell you, all politicians are rogues, are corrupt. I don't want to make a hasty generalization, but if EFCC picks you and you are not corrupt, forget whether it's political or not, you are bound to defend yourself. You are bound to defend yourself because you cannot hide under the banner of EFCC not being objective and not by that not proving cases of corrupt practice or alleged corrupt practice. So I think if you don't have any skeleton to cover, even if EFCC is headed by the son of incumbent president, you are free to go there and defend yourself. And of course, if nothing is fine in your cupboard, I mean, the court is there to decide. Yes, political transition or politicking may be part of it, but it's the abnormal normal in Nigerian context because no president wants to leave, no governor wants to leave. So it depends on your length and your kilogram with the EFCC contact. But I mean, ultimately, if you don't have public money in your pocket, even if you are witch-hunted, you're going to be free, notwithstanding the mileage that could have gone. And also, the coalition should also see it as a baptism that is going to stand in there if none of their members or those members arrested are not corrupt at the end of the day. I think that would be okay for them. I don't want them to see it all negative or Nigeria to see it all negative. All we are interested in is that Nigeria has been overlooked, and who collects the money back may not be the material thing to discuss, whether it's bias or unbiased. What matters most is that to use still public money. I think that's the view I want to put into it.
All right, thank you so very much, Mr. Shoyinto. Of course, where it is a little bit disturbing is the fact that the EFCC goes for those that are likened to be opposition to the government. Senator Godswill Akpabio still has a case with the EFCC that has been dropped allegedly. The Minister of Defense, who currently with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has a case with the EFCC that has been set aside. The past governor of Delta State has about 1.3 trillion issues with the EFCC. He has plugged himself to the center, and possibly that will be set aside. So all of this shenanigan happening is while Nigerians and the ADC is actually crying that this is more like witch hunt of its people because they are standing on the opposition. But of course, just like you did say, the most important thing is if you do not have a skeleton in your cupboard, then you could go defend yourself. But I'd love you to speak to another growing matter that we have, one of the trendiest in Nigeria, and that is on the Ibom Air passengers remand, igniting selective justice and opera. And Mr. Shoyinto, I know you've seen the viral video of the very stubborn girl that was very abusive on board of the Ibom Air. But I'd love us to juxtapose it with that of Kwam One, who stopped a value jet aircraft from not flying. On the side of the young girl, she has been incarcerated. She's currently in Kirikiri prison as we speak right now. She's been given a no-fly ban for life, which means she can't fly in her lifetime again. While Kwam One just enjoyed 6 months of ban, and the Nigerians are asking, why the selective justice?
Yeah, well, I put out a statement yesterday or early today where I personally call it a selective justice. The title of my public statement was Equal Right and Justice. Of course, if there was, or let me say perhaps, if there was no Kwam 1 incident, maybe there won't be Kwam 2 incident. And of course, we will likely have another Kwam 3, Kwam 4 incident of airport disruption. Because if Kwam 1, the K1 Basio embarrassing incident had been effectively done with law taking its course, maybe that would have sent fear in the minds of those who are unruly and arrogant like Wasiu. And of course, we all condemn it, despite his apology. Apology does not make law to go arrest. You can be pardoned after due process of law by the president. But don't forget, aviation is a global business. And this is where Nigeria is going to be in a big problem if they allow Wasiu to go scot-free beyond the indefinite ban. Well, about the lady, I think his case was the same, or let me say almost the same, with Wasiu. He was not disrupting flight or disrupting flight tactically on here when he was about to land. And of course, the Akwa Ibom here that said it was bound for life, to me is exaggeration. For life, maybe they were talking of not flying their own airline.
Okay.
And maybe if that is it, even Akwa Ibom airline will not be for life. So why are you saying somebody is bound for life? No matter the offense, we're not going to Akwa Ibom. Where are the other airlines before Akwa Ibom? We've had so many airlines that died even before passenger died. So I want to see that statement as too unnecessary. You can say it's banned indefinitely. Indefinitely can mean life, instead of saying it's banned for life, because you are not going to be for life too. Then, of course, the lady is unruly, no doubt about that. But I think the treatment was too much, too harsh on her, to the extent of exposing her breast to the naked world, and naked breast to the world. I mean, to me, it's unfortunate. And it's also so how unprofessional these security people are. Maybe they are now overdoing, having seen the lapses they made, they have at the jet, at the K1 Arikuyeri jet bad episode. Maybe they are now overdoing it. All it is a lady. It's not a fighter. It's not a marketer. It's not a wrestler. So it's a lady. He wants to calm down. Yes, let her calm down.
Let her come down. Definitely. True.
Let her calm down. The handcuff is ready for her.
Yes.
Why do you go and wrestle with her in the aircraft? And I think those guys should be punished. They should punish too. You know, because you are not the judge. Someone can only be found guilty, you know, by the court. You may be surprised if the court says it's not guilty. What do you do? Because he was saying that I was not allowed. Though I mean, I would never tolerate such slapping, a woman slapping a woman. We blame men slapping a woman, not to talk of woman slapping a woman. That's degrading. But honestly, they handled the thing very poorly. Very poorly. And I want to appeal to Akwa Ibom Airline to discipline those guys too, that expose women to such global. Maybe you always forget that we are before the war. Aviation industry is global, so that is why the government is going to be a problem with the Kwanwan indulgence on codes. If nothing happens to him, it makes your airport unsafe because it happens in the presence of the global world. And the most of this is how you treat. And don't forget, I mean, aviation is a very sensitive, security-packed business. So people will look at it, Australia, in America, in Asia. So somebody can stop a plane, somebody can splash water on or alcohol on a pylon, a beautiful pylon for that matter. And somebody can delay plane for about 10, 20 minutes and go scot-free just for indefinite ban, and which may also be unlifted. So I think law must take its course if any pilot is going to. But the fastness of sending the lady to period it's funny because if our law is working like that, in fact, everybody will say matter. Nobody, because law is sure that law, favors the rich and famous and the privileged, than the other class of we the working masses and the struggling class. So that's what it shows. And you don't want bad president give right to worst president. Worst president give right to worst president. I talked about 5 days interval. And you see what happened now. My position is on that place.
It's actually very, very true, Mr. Shonito, because of the way it was handled was quite very poor. One would have seen if it had happened in other better countries, they would have allowed the young girl to come down, they arrest her, and then do whatever it is they were supposed to do. But going on a fisticuff, on a one-on-one fight, that exposed her wasn't really good for Ibom Air and for the Nigerian aircraft ecosystem. It's actually very, very sad. But I'd love us to talk to the matter of Ogun. That's Mr. Abiondu of Ogun State removing finally the demolition seal as Daniel threatens Abiondu with lawsuit. Remember, there has been the rumor, not even a rumor, it was just about to go into effect, the demolition of Senator Daniel's home in Ogun State by the governor. I do not know. I'd love you to fleshing out that particular story for us, if you may.
Well, the reality is that governors in Nigeria, they are the greatest threat and real danger to democracy. And they have been showing that since time immemorial. When Tinubu himself was governor in Lagos State, we saw what happened. It was so dictatorial, so powerful. The same thing applies to Benga Daniel when he was governor of Ogun State. Too powerful. In fact, his regime was encouraging different kind of urban bandits, cultists, campus cultists, to the extent that it became difficult for opposition to breathe. And of course, don't forget Now he's succeeded by another person who is also supreme in his own way. So what happens to Daniel maybe is happening, and what Daniel did for his predecessors is happening to him now by somebody who also is in power, supreme, and also want to go for the Senate. Has been a rumor, has been posted everywhere. So it's not about us, really. It's not about public interest. It's about private, individual great interest. Well, if Daniel built on illegal, particularly the hotel in Abeokuta, which I personally thought should not have been there. Personally, I'm not a regional planner. But when you look at the closeness of the hotel to the governor's office and secretariat, I've not seen such hotel anywhere in the States I've been to in Nigeria, even outside the country. So much located. Well, it may have, I say, also legally, but I don't know whether the demolition of that. But for his house in Shagamu, I passed through the place where we were doing a National Conscious Party campaign led by Gani Fawe, and I was the chairman of the party. I don't think, from my distance observation, I don't think that house, I think Soludero, the mansion also, I don't think that house, or the service, disobeyed any urban rule, because there are some houses there by the time, talking of years back now.
Yes. Are you still there, Mr. Shanton? Mr. Shanton, are you still there? All right, we're having a little bit of a glitch there. I guess connection issues and problem. And that's Mr. Shanton talking about the issue of Benga.
They can always say, Nigerians, because they are friends, not because of us, but because of Shaw.
All right. Hello, Mr. Shanton, are you still there? All right, so actually we're talking about the issue, the fracas between the Ogun State governor, Abiodun, and his former governor, that is Daniel Benga, and the demolition issue, saga happening between both of them. But the verdict to all of this is, ladies and gentlemen, when you live in a glass house, don't throw stones, because Abiodun might be the governor currently, thinking that he has all the powers to himself. One day he would equally be a former governor, and some other person would come. What then would happen if all the assets and all the properties he has in Ogun State is equally placed under demolition? That's one thing current politicians do not see in the future, because what you do to the least of some other person might possibly be done unto you, and that is the big issue that we have. I still have with me Mr. Shanton, and who is the journalist, public affairs analyst, to see through all that we have. I do not know. Are you still there, Mr. Shanton?
Yeah, I think the network has broken.
Yes, the network is a little bit bad. But I'd love us to take this particular last issue, still on the Punch newspaper, just before we call it a wrap on this particular segment. World Bank approves yet another fresh 12.9 trillion naira loan to Nigeria in 2 years. Mr. Shanton, let's not forget where we're coming from. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu met a total debt of 88 trillion naira, took it to 140 trillion. Now we are almost going to 200 trillion naira debt. And Nigerians cannot see what all of those money that he had borrowed from different places, where they are being put